Happy Friday to you all. Welcome back. It's another JWP Hotseat. My name is Jess. I'm the owner photographer behind the lens here at JWilsonPix. And I have an Instagram Live Hotseat series that I do every Friday. It's called the Hot Seats, and it's a lot of fun. You get to meet some amazing new people that you might not have met before, might not have heard anything about them before, anything like that. And this is a great opportunity for you to get to meet them and get to know who they are as people behind the businesses and the brands that you see here on social media. And if you would like to come on a hot seat of your own with me, feel free to DM me the word hot seat and I'm just going. So it's Friday. Are you ready for the weekend? I know that I am. You see that Rachel is here, and she is who you guys get to talk to today. You get to meet Miss Rachel. I felt like when I first started posting about this, I was like, I have to do a disclaimer. It's not like the kids Miss Rachel. It's adult Miss Rachel.
Honestly, I would totally still identify as a big kid, so no issues there.
Well, there's a creator. Her name is Miss Rachel, and she has like YouTube videos, and she's on TV and stuff, and it's learning. She's a learning creator for children. And I thought about it after I was like, oh yeah, you guys are going to get to meet Miss Rachel. And I was like, wait, I have to do a disclaimer for which Miss Rachel it is.
Honestly, I have such a common name that it is a common issue. Whenever people are like, hey, meet Rachel, and they're like, I know a bunch of Rachels.
That's awesome.
So funny.
I love that. Well, I am super excited that you were able to be here with me today. It's good to see you. How's your day going?
It's good. I am wrapping off a busy week with this. This is the last thing I have on my schedule before I potato for the weekend and recharge, and I am so excited.
Love that. Well, for everybody who is not familiar with your awesomeness, my dear friend, please tell everybody who you are and what it is you do, and then we'll jump into your questions.
I love that. So, hello everybody. It's good to meet you. My name is Rachel. I am an artist, designer, and personal brand stylist. I love working with entrepreneurs to help them present themselves online in a way that feels authentic to who you are. I know the word authenticity is a huge buzzword nowadays. It's way overused. And when I say authenticity, what I mean is showing up online in a way that feels good to who you are without needing to censor any of your awesomeness out of your content. And what I often feel, especially with my background as a designer, and what I hear a lot from people is that everybody is putting their professional foot out there. They're like, my stuff looks good, I look professional, but it doesn't feel like me. And a question I often get is, how do I present myself online in a way that's both professional, but actually still has some of my magic sparkle in it? Is it impossible? And can I do it in a way that doesn't actually scare off all of my potential opportunities? And the answer is yes, there is a way to do that, and that is actually my zone of genius. So my high school friends know me as the Photoshop queen. I was the kid who Photoshopped all of my friends' doctor's notes so that they could skip class. Needless to say, I use my powers for good now, even though I could still say that it was for a good cause.
Right.
Nowadays, I love supporting
it's past the time of being able to get in trouble for that, so it's okay to share.
Absolutely. But nowadays, I love supporting with people with just coming up with a visual vibe and style that accurately communicates what you're like in the online space so that you feel good showing up online, knowing that you could let your freak flag fly and not worry about scaring off all of the potential customers that are out there. And also you get to attract all of the right people into your world because they see you and they feel you and they love you for it. So that's a little bit about me. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram afterwards as well. Send me a DM. I'd love to connect with you.
Yes, and I hope that you guys will go connect and check her stuff out. I absolutely love Rachel. I love you. I adore you. But I told you this when we first met. Like, we had a networking call set up, and I was like going through all of her stuff, all her content, checking out her website and everything. And by the time we finally met for our one-to-one, I was like, oh my God, I love you. Please be my friend.
And a short 30 minutes later, we are like best buds. I'm so happy that we connected.
And I love it because it's like you you're practicing what you preach. Like if you guys go and connect with Rachel and you check out her content, you'll see exactly what I mean. Like you get a feel for her energy and her style, as well as the services that she provides and the work that she does, just from looking at what you have going on. And I still mean it. When I get to a point where I can afford to do a rebrand, I'm so coming to you, because I want to have that professional feel, but I also want to have that my nerdy energy, my nerdy weirdo energy and style come through for that. So that it will, like, people will get a feel for that, and will know instantly, like, yes, this is where I'm going to do pictures, that kind of thing. So anyhow, please go connect with her. When we post this live to our feed, I will be tagging you as a collaborator, and so everybody will be able to go and just click right there on the post itself, and you'll be able to go and connect and check her out. So are you ready for your questions?
I am ready. Fire away.
Okay, so my first question that I want to ask you is, because we have a little bit of a history. Yes, we are new friends, but like I have stalked you online and checked out your stuff, and you've checked out my stuff, and we're working on things together, and da 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 da,
Yeah.
kind of thing. I want to know, what is your favorite part about gardening? Because I know that you have a home garden and you're always getting yummies out of there.
Yes. Ooh, I love this question. Honestly, I am the type of person that loves to go back every single day and see what's happened in my garden. Like, I am the type of gamer where I love playing the games where you do a little something every day and then you have to wait. And
Yeah.
then they're like, there's nothing you could do to rush it. And then you check back the day after to be like, ooh, did my pumpkins grow? Or like, what happened since I left? Or I need to harvest stuff. Like, I love playing those types of games. So
Right.
knowing that that's my personality, my favorite part of gardening is actually the growing process and just going back every day to see what has happened. I feel like I'm a little precious with all of the stuff in the garden where I like borderline like anxious parent syndrome. Like I would go back every day and be like, are my beans okay? Like I haven't gotten to the point where I like pull up a tape measure and be like, how much did they grow? Like, is it ready to harvest yet? Like not to that point. But I love just watching the process and just babying something. I feel like there's something beautiful about the fact that I can't control the growth process, and all I can do is just show up and water them, give them a little love, you know, like reroute the vines a little bit if they're starting to tangle with each other, whatever it is. And I just, yeah, I like the fact that it's organic and I can't control everything, because I have like control freak syndrome oftentimes with a lot of my stuff. And it's a good lesson every time I garden, that it's like, you can't control everything, and that is okay.
Right. Right. No,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I love that you admit that you're a little bit of a control freak, because I'm a little bit of a control freak too.
Yes.
They always say the first step in knowing you have a problem is admitting what the problem is. But it's not really a problem, but I'm still admitting to it.
Absolutely. I'm like, I can't be a good designer if I am not control freaky. I'm like, things do have to line up by the pixel, but then for other things, you gotta let loose a little bit. Like that's part of life.
Right. I love that. My friend Shaina is always like, oh, you're doing this project? Oh, you're going to do this? Oh, so you're relinquishing a little bit of control? I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, shush.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
So
excellent answer. Excellent answer. Thank you for that. So my next question for you is, what is your favorite mode of self-care? I know from your story that you've had a lot of ups and downs and been through a lot of stuff, and you're at a point where you're coming out on top and you're doing all of the things. What is it that you do when you need to prioritize your self-care? What's your go-to?
good. As a social introvert, the first thing I'm going to say is I detach and unplug from everything. Yeah, I legit call it my potato time. I have a dedicated sweater. I call it my potato sweater. It is the ugliest gray sweater ever, but I wear it whenever I really need to be comfy. And, you know, like when you get to be ugly and alone, like that is my favorite time. I'm like, off with the makeup, put on my glasses, let me just be comfy and curl up under a fuzzy blanket with my cat. So that's like my default way to recharge. But also one thing that I'm starting to do more of is I love going out and going for a run, like especially after a long day of just sitting down and doing a lot of interaction, talking to people, being on calls, I find that I get really stiff and there's a lot of like pent up energy. And I'm like, I need to let this out before I do the potato thing and chill with my cat. So I love going out for a run. For most people, running is like an exercise thing. Like, yes, it's exercise, but I just like the fact of I get to just focus on breathing and not think about anything because the exercise is so tough. I cannot think about anything. And it's just like the time of the day where I get to just be by myself. It's almost like meditative when I just get to run and focus on that. So my run time is sacred for me. That's why I actually don't have any calls after 3 p.m. on any days because that is like my running time. So fun fact.
I love that. I love that. I love that you prioritize that and have it on your schedule because I'm a big proponent for that. Like I have 1 week out of every month that I have just blocked off because that is my reset week because I need that week. I need that week to be able to catch up on sleep. I need that week to like be able, it's usually the week that, you know, the auntie is visiting.
Yes. I love that side. The week.
Yeah,
like we should just make that a thing.
I agree. So I love that running for you is like decompressing. I don't run. I hate running. I love to go walking. I'll go walk, but I hate running. And that whole joke of like I just have to run like in the zombie apocalypse. I only have to run faster than like 5 other people.
As long as you're not the slowest, the other person behind you is the first person who's going to get eaten.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So we have people that are joining us and commenting. So let me check in here with hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Soda Can Art said, I love your pink hair.
Thank
so
you.
much. Trauma to Bliss said that flow state is very meditative. Yes, like what a great way to decompress, right? I love that.
Absolutely.
All right, so your third and final question, and for those of you that are joining us here and it's your first time for one of my hot seats, I had Rachel introduce herself and then I asked her 3 questions and she asked me 3 questions and then we're going to close with what she has going on coming up that she wants to get your eyeballs on. So question number 3, I want to know, let's see, and these are just random questions, you guys, that we're coming up with. Sometimes people plan them if they're really nervous about it. I'll be like, okay, we can plan them, but Rachel and I are on this like energy vibe thing. We're like, yeah, no, we're just gonna go for it. So my third question for you, I want to know so I know that there's a certain game that you play with certain family members, and I want to know, have you caught up? Are you caught up and where you're supposed to be?
Now, my first question is, I'm like, there are a couple games that I play. The main one as of right now that's consistent across the board is I play Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could, let me see if I can move my chair. Can you guys see?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got an Umbreon and a Ditto in the background.
Right.
There are other Pokemon lying around. There's this ongoing friendly competition that I have going on with my dad where it's just a running joke that we have where every single game that I play and my dad plays, he always seems to beat me at it, no matter what, from childhood. I just cannot seem to beat him at any game, and it seems to be the case still with Pokemon Go. He's already maxed out at the level cap. Like he's already won, technically.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm still catching up. Like 50 is the level cap. I'm at 43, and I'm struggling. I have not been able to catch up. I feel like business would crumble if I spent any more time playing that game. Yeah. I play it casually, I will say, and I will catch up whenever I catch up. I have resigned.
You're like, I forfeit. You win. You've got the flag.
I know. And every once in a while, he'd be like, so how's the progress going? And I know he means well, but I'm like, painfully slow. I don't know how you do it. It's so funny.
Oh, that's too funny. So when you play that, do you, because I remember when that game first came out and like my grandkids were trying to play it. My older kids were kind of like just checking it out because the grandkids were playing it. Do you just like wander around your town, like, or just like your house, your neighborhood and just do stuff, or?
Yeah, it's one of those weird games where it's kind of like there's this map and it's like maps to what the streets are like in like IRL. And then as you're wandering around, you'll have different Pokemon popping up. And sometimes you'll have missions where you're supposed to catch like a certain type of Pokemon or evolve something. So then they always, the game is good where they always give you different tasks to fill out. And then basically the premise is, along the lines of Pokemon, you want to catch them all. So
Right.
it's kind of like a collection game where you want to collect them, but they don't just sit there. Like you can use the Pokemon to battle. So there's like a whole PvP component. People are like really intense about that. I get weird around competitive games. Like I get really mad if I lose. So sometimes, especially for situations like that, I'm like, I'm gonna preserve my sanity and just play the game the chill way. I'm like, I
Right.
just catch stuff once in a while, complete my missions, get my dopamine hit when I check off the thing,
Right.
and then like call it a day. So there's some people who are really hardcore about it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it. I feel like in every game there's always that group of sweaty players, right?
Yes. Yes.
No offense. You can be a sweaty player for your video games. That's totally fine. There's just acknowledge that there's different categories. Some of us just like to play for fun.
Yes. Super chill and then super intense. I'm like, no judgment to either.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. I get that. All right, well, great answer. See, easy questions. Easy questions.
Yay.
Now we get to flip the script and you get to ask me 3 questions.
I'm so excited. Okay. Of all, because I know one of the things that we always talk about are plants. And I know you have a lot of plants. I think the last time we talked, you've got like 60 plus plants in your house. And I do have to ask, who is the favorite plant child, if you have one? And it is okay if you do. I personally do too, but I do have to ask, who is the favorite child?
I love this question. I was asked this question before, but it was phrased differently, as in like, if my house was on fire, which plant would I rescue?
Man.
I love all of my plants. I like them. I love them. But I would have to say that, like, if I had to choose one, if the house was on fire, what would be my one go-to, which would probably be my favorite, and that would be my big Bertha spider plant. And I call her Big Bertha because she's like the big spider plant grandma plant. Like, she is big and bodacious. I have pictures of her on my Instagram stuff here. And she has given me so many babies. Like, so many babies. And so I have like generations of spider plants in my plant collection because of her. And I think she's beautiful. So that would probably be my favorite one. But I love all of them, in case you're all listening.
It's so funny. I remember seeing a reel the other day. It's like me eating salad in front of my house plants to tell them, you better grow right or you're next. I love that though. I have got this UFO plant that is, it sounds very similar to Bertha, where it's just a very prolific propagator. Like every other week I check and I'm like, you've got a new baby coming. Like, how? And then like the babies have babies. And now I run out of planters. I don't know what to do. Probably I'll just wait until springtime, as it's like hibernation mode for them. But I love how you called like the grandma or great grandma at this point. Like, how many babies does Bertha have?
I have 62. So I technically have 63 plants now, because for my birthday, my husband brought me home a money tree plant. So she's, I don't know, I think I've got at least 20 spider plant babies. Yeah.
That's so impressive.
I have, my bathroom area is over here, and I have this big, huge window over the big tub, and I have a bunch. That's my spider plant corner area for, not Big Bertha, she's in the kitchen, but for these ones were her babies, and I'm letting them, like, I've gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, I need to get more pots, and I need to get more dirt, so I'm just gonna let them grow and like do their thing. So these ones in the bathroom, I don't know if you've seen pictures of spider plants where they grow the long things and then they have their babies, and then they grow long things and then they have more babies. So I'm letting them do that. I'm not propagating them. I've been like, I'm going to let y'all have a little break and just do your thing and see what happens.
I love that. That's so cool. Please send me more updates as you start propagating more plant baby parrots. Be nice. I love that. Amazing. Okay, next question I have. I am knowing that you do photography. I am really, really curious to hear when it comes to your own photos. It's kind of like the doctors doing the doctor thing for themselves or me doing branding for myself.
Yeah.
Do you do your own photos or do you get somebody else to support you with that? Like I've always been curious. I don't think I've ever asked this question, but I gotta know. I gotta know.
So, I have a little bit of OCD, and then like we previously talked about, I have a little bit of like this control issue.
Yeah.
I always do my own photos. I do my own photos. I do my own family photos. When we first moved out here, I had made friends with a photographer who was transitioning her niche, and so I hired her to come and do our family photos, and we did them outside, and um, she was awesome. She's an amazing human being. So I am by no means being negative here, but I have a very particular way that I view photos. And so it was very hard for me. Like the pictures that she took for us, they were fine. But I ended up just doing another photo shoot and me doing it because I'm like so particular about how like the angles and the lighting and just how the composition looks and stuff, and I'm like just so super OCD about that stuff. You know, I always say that we are our own worst critics when we take pictures of ourselves or when we have pictures taken and we're viewing them, and that 100,000% applies to myself in having other people take pictures of me, kind of thing. So unfortunately in my family I don't have to worry about anybody else trying to take pictures of me because they're just like whatever, mom's the one with the camera all of the time. So yeah, so I take my own pictures.
That's so cool. I love that. I've always been curious.
Yeah, I will say it's a lot of work because like you would think that to apply the same process that I apply for my clients, to apply it to myself, it's actually harder than you think to do that, right? Because I'm like, oh yeah, I can skip that part because of blah, 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 blah. Or I don't have to go so in depth with this part because of blah, 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 blah. But the reality of it is I actually really have to like plan what pictures I'm going to take, what props I'm going to use, the location, the angles that I want, what I'm going to wear. But then I have to have the energy to do all of that. So sometimes it takes me a little bit, kind of thing. Like I go through the same pressures and anxieties and stresses that everybody else does when they hire me to do pictures. But like same thing. But it's really weird when you have to deal with it for yourself to do your own pictures. But I eventually make it happen, and then I use those pictures for like a good year or two and repurpose them over and over again until I have the energy to do another one.
That's so good. But I love how it's like you have the ability and know how to make it happen though. So you don't find yourself in that position where you have like the one good photo shoot and then 10 years later you're like, okay, I should get new photos, but I don't have the ability to, because not everybody has access to one, the skill, or maybe just like a good photographer. So the fact that you can actually refresh your own photos so often and just whenever you feel like it, like that is an amazing superpower to have.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
I have fun with it. It's still work though.
It totally is. And I feel you on how it's so easy to get lazy with applying our own process to ourselves. Like I am the same thing for branding. Sometimes I'm like, like I don't need to set up guidelines. Like it lives in my head. Of course I know what the brand is. I'm like, no. We got to set it up as an example to show people that I drink my own Kool-Aid.
Right.
Okay, we
like,
got to do
I want to be like,
thing.
I practice what I preach, so I do pictures at least once every year, if not more.
Exactly. So good. Okay, my last question is kind of sort of, it's still photo related, but I'm curious when it comes to your camera. I feel like for photographers, cameras and lenses and your equipment is like to the graphic designer, like my tablet and all of like my other stuff. I'm curious to hear if you have a favorite camera, if it has a name, and to tell us more about the story behind it. I'm curious because my dad does the camera stuff too, and he's got like a bajillion lenses. So I'm curious to hear if you have a favorite camera.
So this is probably not going to be the answer that you're expecting. I have an old camera collection, and then I have my cameras that I used for my business when I was shooting in person.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, my favorite camera is the camera that's on my iPhone 16. And the reason why is because it's on my phone. I have it on me 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So there's no excuse for me to miss taking pictures of our adventures, taking pictures of special moments with my kiddos, with my fur babies, documenting my plants growing, like anything like that. It is my favorite because of the flexibility and the convenience that it offers me to take more pictures of what's going on in my life, to be able to have those as documentation that I was here in this plane of existence, and these are the things that we did, and these were the peoples and the animals that I loved and the adventures that we did and stuff. And when you're lugging around camera gear, it's a little harder to do that. I've gone on photo shoots where like there was travel involved, right? So I had to drive a couple hours, so my husband would drive me, I would do the photo shoot, and then after we were all done there, we would go and find somewhere to eat, and we would just kind of like explore a little bit or whatever. And when I had my camera gear with me, it is so stressful to be able to do anything else, because I don't want to leave it in the car and have it get too hot, or have the car get broken into and it get stolen, right? If I take it in with me, then I have to be conscientious of like, am I putting it on the ground underneath the table where everybody's bubble gum is at? Like it has to have its own seat. Like there's a lot of angst, or I don't know what the word for it would be, but there's a lot of extra things I have to think about to be lugging that stuff around with me. So so my favorite camera is the camera that is on me 24/7 and fits in my pocket or right in my bra strap, you know how us girls do sometimes.
Oh yes.
Because
we don't have, because they don't have pockets. I feel like one of the things that I want to do eventually is start up my own fashion line, and there's going to be a line that's dedicated for women where it's going to be like street clothing, but with freaking big pockets, because we need to put shit in it. Like I really want to start that up.
What is with the clothing items where you think it's a pocket and it's like a fake pocket? Like, I'm like, what is the point? Or like my grandson, he's 2, he gets these cute, my daughter gets him these cute little outfits, right? He gets these cute little jeans and romper outfits and stuff, and he has pockets. They're actually pockets that he can put stuff in, and I'm like, you're 2. What do you need these pockets for? Rocks?
Candy, rocks, bugs. Yes.
Why don't I get these pockets?
I know, right? That's crazy. But I love how you actually said that your phone camera is your favorite. And I actually agree with you on how the convenience and how oftentimes one of the biggest barriers of people taking photos is the fact that they're like, oh, like I gotta pull it out of the case, and then, oh, let me switch that lens. And then by the time you do all the things, sometimes the moment is gone, you know, the bird flew away, like the ice melted, the sun is gone. Like sometimes it's like in that split second you need to catch something, the phone is the fastest. And it's like, I do have like some other like video and camera gear lying around too, but even when it comes to capturing process pics, I still default to my phone. Like I've got a bunch of other options that are much higher quality and better for literally everything. But when it comes to convenience, sometimes I'm like, I'm just lazy. Sometimes it just goes down to that too. I'm like, I just want to quickly capture this process, and I know I've got other gear, but I can just pull the thing in my phone and then just prop it up and then like do the thing.
Right. No, I hear you on that. And I will say with the disclaimer on this that our cell phone cameras are not what they used to be 10 years ago. In my particular industry, it has always been this whole like stigma of, oh my gosh, you're taking pictures on your cell phone. That's so not professional. You can't do anything with those. Da, 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 da. Whatever, newbie, right? And that is not the case anymore. All of my years of doing my photography business, I always did my own pictures on my cell phone. Like literally, I did my clients' pictures on my big cameras, on my big guns. And I always did my own pictures for my own content on my cell phone. You can print nowadays. The cameras are so good for most of the newer phones. Like I'm talking like you could go back to like an iPhone 6. Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit, you could go a little bit further back than that too if you wanted to. And I'm speaking specifically from iPhone because that's what I have. But you can print straight from your camera roll. You can print 8x10s. You can put pictures in the photo album. You can sign up for one of those fun little things where you print and make like magnets to stick on your fridge from your images, put them on a coffee mug or whatever else. The key to it is that you have to have a good picture to be able to have it be a good print kind of thing. So if it's a shitty picture, it's going to be a shitty print and it's not going to work. But a lot of people don't realize that you can print straight from your camera roll, and that like the cameras that you have on your phone today, they are just as good a quality as going and buying a Canon, you know, like a big gun camera kind of thing. The caveat to that is that obviously, you know, depending on the situation, I always like to say if it's like a wedding or if it's like some sort of situation or adventure that you have going on where you want to create big, beautiful canvas wraps to hang over your fireplace, obviously, you're going to want an in-person photographer. You're going to want them to have a really nice DSLR that can make that happen for you. But if that's not what you're doing for everything else, you can use your camera phone.
That makes so much sense. And honestly, even if I'm thinking from an application standpoint, most of the photos that we see are on our phone, at most on our computer. And I mean, there are big computer screens, but it's only going to get so big. And even when it comes to like resolution, of course, like if you're printing it out, the resolution had better be darn good. But like the fact that our cameras are actually super, super capable. Like,
it's all about the pixels, and they totally can do that. Like, it can work.
It's crazy. Like the capabilities. The other day we actually had there's like this solar storm that was happening, and I think there were like the auroras. People were like, oh, we could see the northern lights, but it was actually visible all across basically most of North America and I think some of the UK. And it never fails to amaze me that when I go outside just with my phone and I take a picture of the sky, there's like this crazy low light setting where if I just hold still long enough, they do this long exposure and I can actually, it looks like a professional photograph with what I'm able to capture with my phone. Like it's insane.
Yes, and that's what I mean when I'm saying that like the camera's capabilities on the phones that we have now are not what they were 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Like the progress has like, it's just amazing. There's a couple of accounts that I follow here on Instagram where the photographers, they're professional photographers. They do like street photography, nature photography, that macro photography, floral photography, and literally everything is done on an iPhone. Like
that's so crazy.
You cannot even tell. Like there's you can't tell. It's just beautiful work, and it's all done on their iPhones. So yeah, great question.
I'm so happy I asked. I was like super curious because my dad actually does photography as well. I unfortunately did not adopt his camera savvy skills. The running joke of the family is when I touch cameras, they break. I'm just not very good with them for whatever reason, but he does like a lot of like just outdoor nature photography, like super casual, but whenever we go for hikes, like he's super anal about like, we need to get to the top by this time because the light rays are going to hit the glacier at this angle and I need to get that shot. And we're like, all right, Dad, we'll wake up at 5 a.m. to make sure we get to the top by noon so you get the right light angle. So I've always been curious.
Sweaty photographer. He's a sweaty photographer.
especially when you do outdoor photography and you need to work with the lighting. He's like, we need to be here at this time so I could get this shot. We're like, all right, Dad, like, we'll do our best.
And especially like in nature photography, when you're doing stuff like that's like destination nature photography, right? And that is super important to like pay attention to where the sun's at, where the light's going to be at, where the shadows are going to fall, that kind of thing. So yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Those were fantastic questions. Thank you for asking them. And so now we're going to close up with asking you, what do you have going on? What do you have coming up? What do you want people to go and check out and get their eyeballs on?
Yes, this is super exciting that I get to share about this. There's only a few months left in the year, which is crazy to me. And I actually am very excited to say that I have plans on relaunching my business brand officially. I run underneath my personal brand right now, but I'm planning on relaunching my business brand officially in the new year and actually have a forward-facing personal branding agency that provides a wide breadth of support for all of you avid DIYers out there. I know that when it comes to the services I offer right now, most of them are done for you services. I actually recently niched everything down into really bite-sized offerings where right now the thing that I'm excited to promote is I'm actually offering these special 1-week brand transformation packages where literally in 1 week we get your brand all of your visual styling repackaged from start to finish. And the beautiful part is it happens in 2 calls with no revisions and ping pong back and forth in between, where we meet for a call, I get all the info, I build out your brand in the week in between, and then I meet you for the second call and then just show you your finished brand, and then we make live tweaks and adjustments right on the call. And then that's basically everything. So I'm really excited to be sharing about that. It's like super bite-sized. It's actually perfect for a lot of people who are looking for a good foundation for their brand, but it's bite-sized enough that it allows you to be agile. Like, we're not going to give you like so many assets that you're like, Rachel, what if my brand evolves and it's different in like 3 months? Do I still get to use this? And I love creating these agile setups for people because it's meant to give you a foundation so that you can take it, apply it, have fun, and evolve it as you go. So this 1-week brand transformation package is called the Brand Style, and I'm going to be basically offering them. I'm basically focusing on serving 1 client at a time, and I'm basically filling up all of the spots leading up to the end of the year. So it is honestly a steal. I have a lot of activity happening in my inbox right now with people who are looking to get spots. So I just wanted to put that out there in the case that you really need to get your brand done and you're wanting to relaunch something for the start of the new year. Now's the time to start planning it because it still takes time to get done. Right. So I'll kind of put that out there. There's more information about this package on my website as well, which you can find from the link in my bio.
Yep. I love that. And I want to throw in there too that if that is something where you're like, yeah, I'm not for sure on that, Rachel offers other services as well. So she can help you figure out what your brand identity is and figure that part out and create that part. Like, there's a lot of different options for how she can help you. And like we were talking about in the beginning, it's all about being able to present that forward-facing, professional, I can help you, I can solve this problem for you. But then here's a little glimpse of my little weird nerdy energy and who I am, what I'm about, to tie it all together and make it to where it's like just you. So I love that. Thank you for sharing with us, Rachel. Make sure you guys go and connect with her. Go check out the links in her bio here on Instagram. Give her some love. And really quick, welcome Vern, welcome Joyful. We've got a lot of friends jumping in and joining us. Thank you all for being here. If you are joining in late, please do come back and catch the replay and put #replay in the comments for us so that we know that you caught the whole thing. What should we make our follow-up question be for when we post this over? What questions should we ask people? I'll let you pick.
I am curious to hear, just because a lot of the work that we do is very similar. It is about self-expression and like just putting yourself out there without censoring yourself out of your own content. I would be curious to hear from people Since it's October, I would love to hear what people are doing for Halloween in terms of expressing themselves. And like, if you could be anything, like you don't even have to purchase the costume. I'm so curious to hear what are people doing for Halloween and like, how are you packaging and putting yourself out there? If you were to be completely freaky and with no repercussions, like what would that look like for you?
Right. Love that. Okay. I will shorten that question and put it into our caption.
Yeah.
But we would love to have you guys come back. Make sure you come back to when this is posted. I always say this, but I really wish Instagram, if you hear me, like really just the comments and the engagement that we're doing here on this live, I would love if you could transfer that over to when we post it into the feed. So if you're here with us, we thank you. Please come back. Check out our feed so that you can find this video again, hit hashtag replay and let us know that you got to watch it, and then answer the question. Let us know, what are you doing? How are you showing up for yourself and putting yourself out there for Halloween? I had bought a couple of like witchy things that I could do, where I could either do that or I could be a Murloc, because I have a Murloc onesie from World of Warcraft. What are you going to do? Did I lose you? Did I lose you, Rachel? Hello?
Yeah. Hi. I think we froze
There,
for a
back?
second.
Okay.
We're back. We're back. I don't know what
I was
happened.
saying, I got some I got a couple of things that I purchased so I could have like a witchy costume, or I could be a Murloc, because I have a Murloc onesie from World of Warcraft. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
My default is my Pikachu onesie just because it is so comfy. I'm like, I'm too lazy to do the top and the bottom. Let me just jump into the one piece. In previous years, actually, let me see if I can pull it off the wall. I can show you something really cool. I have this paper fox mask that this is actually paper, which is crazy. It fits on top of, like, I guess you can't see it properly, but it's basically like this paper fox mask that I used in previous Halloween. It looks really cool. It is terrible when it comes to wearing it, but I actually just keep it hung up on my wall behind me as a wall decoration. But it's really cool because it's legit just paper, and I just followed the instructions in folding it. So I might wear this for my calls.
Yeah, that is so cool. I love that. I love that. And I have to ask you, because my onesie, my Murloc onesie, it has pockets. Does your Pikachu onesie have pockets?
Yes. It is one of my favorite features, the fact that I could put my phone in there so I don't have to hold it when I'm walking.
I agree. I agree. All right. Well, this has been a fun hot seat. Thank you again for taking time and being with me today. And thank you to everyone who came and hung out with us. Kevin said Rachel's awesome. The real Rob Chang said Halloween. Is it October already? Yes, Rob. We're like 18 days in, my dear.
Yeah, it goes by quickly.
It does. It does. So everyone go forth. Have a fantastic weekend. Rachel, enjoy your potato time.
Thank you.
And remember, if you are here joining us, please come back and let us know what you are doing for Halloween. Like, what are you dressing up as? What are your plans? We want to hear all of the juicy details. And with that, we bid you all bye-bye, and we'll see y'all next week. Have a great one. Thank you, Rachel. Bye.
Thank you. See you.